Tonight, police slammed the actions of heartless thieves targeting tributes at grave sites in Port Lincoln and a generous donation to the Port Pirie Hospital that'll help save the most critically ill babies.
This is Southern Cross News with Fraser Goldsworthy.
Good evening. Port Lincoln Police have slammed the actions of those who stole tributes laid at gravesites from the North Shields Cemetery. Multiple items, including flowers, have been taken. Officers are pleading for the public to be on the lookout.
It's meant to be a place to honour the dead, but someone is taking that decency away.
For people to steal from a cemetery is absolutely disgraceful.
Early last week, people returning to the North Shields Cemetery noticed items missing from multiple grave sites. Tributes including teddy bears and flowers left by those to loved ones who've passed, now suffering further loss.
It's certainly very disappointing when people stoop to taking items from a cemetery. This is a place where loved ones have laid their own to rest.
At least 3 people have come forward to report items missing, with fears there could be more.
They'd be terribly disappointed that these items have been taken from the cemetery.
Local police say they'll be stepping up patrols here in North Shields and the Happy Valley Cemetery in Port Lincoln to deter anyone from stealing items left for loved ones.
If we do catch these offenders, we'll be placing them before the courts where they can be dealt with according to the law.
Police are now urging the public to come forward if they too have noticed items missing or disturbed at local grave sites.
If you have any information into who may have committed these offences, please call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000. You can remain anonymous.
Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
20 hectares of land has been destroyed in the state's mid-north after a mechanical fault in a header ignited a massive fire. The inferno started around 9:30 this morning at a property in Wandera East on the Spencer Highway, south of Port Pirie. 11 CFS crews were called in to help extinguish the blaze. Local farmers also provided backup water supplies. 2 water bombers were also called in, along with an observation aircraft. The damage bill is not yet known. The Lions Club in Port Pirie has raised vital funds to provide the local hospital with state-of-the-art medical equipment for some of the most critical of patients. Doctors say sick newborn babies will be able to be treated with more accuracy thanks to the generous donation.
$15,000 worth of life-saving medical equipment. The Port Pirie Lions Club digging deep to help some of the community's most vulnerable patients.
Provides heart rate monitoring and oxygen level monitoring for newborn babies and babies up to 12 months of age. The other part of the donation was for a blender, which enables us to give the baby just the right amount of oxygen when they're born.
The oxygen blender's already saving young lives within the hospital.
About 10% of all births need to be resuscitated, so we would use it then, and any time we have a sick infant within the hospital.
The oxygen blender was used during the birth of these twins because they were about 6 weeks premature.
Given its size, the equipment is also easily transportable, meaning it'll be used to save lives on the go.
It's a way to monitor babies in transit that's more accurate and certainly a safer way.
And everything we do fundraise goes back into the community of Port Pirie or to support Pirie in the region.
The hospital staff labelling the generous donation as a godsend.
Expensive equipment which the hospital can't fund, so we're very, very grateful for Lions donating this money for us.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
Whyalla parents are being invited to a cyber safety forum to discuss how to keep their kids safe in the online world. It comes as local educators warn kids as young as 8 are becoming the targets of online bullying.
The internet has revolutionised the way we communicate and gather information, but its dark side is just a click away. Online bullying has emerged as a key issue among youth through a variety of platforms. Local counsellors say they're dealing with kids who are being bullied in just grade 3.
It affects their relationships. I see them at school and I see the impact on their relationships at school. They sometimes can suffer from anxiety.
She says parents are missing the signs in most cases because they simply aren't aware of their child's online presence.
It's not just Facebook, but Instagram and Musical.ly and lots like that. And not necessarily keeping their parents up to date with what they're accessing.
Parents will have the opportunity to learn more about the complex online world at a forum this week. Renowned cyber expert Susan McLean will present a 2-hour program on how to monitor your child's use of the internet.
She deals with all aspects of children and adults and online security.
Ms Eganran says parents need to keep up with the ever-evolving technology.
Children learn so fast and they don't always tell you what they're looking at.
The sessions will be held at the UniSA Library on Monday night. John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Stay with us after the break, how you can have your say on funding for local community projects. Details next. The Fund My Neighbourhood program has visited Port Augusta today, where it held an information session on how to vote for local community initiatives. The state government plan invites residents to support their favourite ideas that'll improve their local area.
A future explorers garden, an upgrade for the local theatre and a community play space. These are just some of the ideas Port Augusta residents have been voting for.
The thing that I love about Port Augusta is that they've got a great mix. It's not that there would be anything wrong with all sporting groups, but it's not all weighted one way.
The state government has committed $20 million to the program, where 1,600 successful projects across SA will be put to a vote. Port Augusta has put forward 7 ideas.
But this is about using those resources to build capacity and connections and community in people's local communities.
Anyone over the age of 18 can vote, and the most popular will receive funding.
That's the interesting thing about it, because the community have put forward these ideas. The community will be the ones who ultimately decide which ideas are going to be the ones that are successful.
One resident has proposed a community garden for this land right next to a preschool. It's ideas like these the state government hopes will bring neighbourhoods closer together.
I've got family in the Flinders Ranges in the Hawke area, and there was quite a few projects like in the Quorn Hawke area, and they varied from like gardens, community gardens, to my particular community put in a outdoor gym. So naturally I voted for that.
So we're really just encouraging people now in this last week, go on to fundmyneighbourhood.sa.gov.au, click on the quick vote button, register and then get your voting.
Voting closes on November 20. Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
2 Year 11 students from Broken Hill have been honoured for outstanding achievement in the field of science. At a ceremony today, Neve Robbins and Kelsey Graham were recognised with the Victor Chang School Science Award.
Broken Hill's brightest scientific sparks. Named after the pioneer heart surgeon, the Victor Chang School Science Awards have been running for 13 years. They're all about encouraging the next generation of scientists to pursue a career in medical research. For Broken Hill High School's Neve Robbins, that's her path.
This is quite into my interest area as well, wanting to go into sort of pre-med medicine when I grow up. To be standing here today having received it myself, it's a great honour.
Williama High School's Kelsey Graham also received the gong, saying it was a great honour to be selected.
Yeah, I'm pretty chuffed.
The pair will get the chance to visit the Victor Chang Institute in Sydney, tour the labs and meet some of Australia's best up-and-coming scientists.
Getting a chance to visit the institute as well as receiving this award is, it's a great honour,
Yeah, we get to go down to Sydney and talk to the professors and have a look around. Yeah, it's going to be good.
Researchers say it's great to see kids in the bush getting behind science.
Science knows no boundaries. Whether you've grown up in the country or you grow up in the city, there are great scientists everywhere, and one of our jobs is to go out and find them and encourage them to go and become the future science leaders in our country.
Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
The University of South Australia has spent some vital time in Whyalla looking to inspire the next generation of architects. Budding designers in the region were given a peek into what the course has to offer.
UniSA's Art, Architecture and Design program is helping to build the next generation of designers and architects.
It bridges social sciences and engineering. It's got a wonderful capacity to address social, environmental and cultural agendas.
And they were put on show in Whyalla. UniSA's Whyalla campus was the inaugural destination for its newly constructed mobile architecture van. It's a fold-out design, held up by water weights underneath the floorboard.
Carry on the back of our truck and set up in communities like we have done here in Whyalla to engage with the local community.
Students had the chance to have a look around at a potential future career, with Mr Morris hopeful of convincing some to study.
The opportunities is what we're trying to open to secondary school students by coming here.
Organisers say the visit is a rare chance for local school leavers to see firsthand what they would be studying.
They've been running workshops over the last few days, but also get the chance to see some of the works that our architecture, art and design students have actually completed through their studies.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Still to come tonight, the local backpackers hostel voted one of the best in the world. Details next. Well, backpackers travelling to Port Lincoln can expect all the comforts of a modern hotel, with the town's hostel rated one of the best in Australia. The Port Lincoln YHA won its 5th Golden Backpack over the weekend for best accommodation at the SA Adventure Travel Awards.
Irish backpacker Victoria hasn't been home for 9 months. Her travels have taken her across the globe, including to a place that feels familiar.
You come in and right away you feel like you're home almost, you know, as close as you can get.
She's one of thousands of travellers who descend on the region every year. Her journey full of pit stops and hostels, but none quite like this.
This is, honestly, I'm not just saying this, one of the best hostels I've stayed in so far.
Debbie and husband Robert have been running the YHA in Port Lincoln for 5 years. Their passion to offer friendly and affordable accommodation has now been recognised internationally.
We just go arm's length over that to do anything possible for our guests.
For $27 per night, the accommodation offers everything from table tennis, a cinema room and even a shark cage for tourists looking to prepare for the real thing.
Everything from like the cleanliness to the facilities they have, it's just been, you know, unbelievable.
This weekend, the hostel claimed its 5th Golden Backpack Award for Best Accommodation.
It's very exciting. 5 years in a row, I still can't believe it. Again, no, it's really great.
But Debbie says it's not just the backpackers who are taking advantage of the award-winning place.
There's a variety of all different types and ages of people, so don't think that you have to be a backpacker to stay here, because we get more older people staying here.
Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
Some of the region's homegrown musical talent has come back to perform on the local stage. Talented pianists, singers and guitarists who now call Adelaide and overseas centres home return to Port Augusta for a homecoming performance.
Born and bred in Quorn and Port Augusta, these musicians are back home for an encore.
It's nice to, catch up with the people that supported you and show them what you've been working on and how you've grown and improved.
People don't actually like to come to any of the country or rural areas, and I'm just trying to at least be that option for a lot of the kids that don't get the same opportunities as some would in the cities.
The group, who once called the town home before moving away to pursue their passions, showed local music lovers their classical flair.
Kind of letting down your barriers so you can properly communicate with audiences and things, so it's quite a personal journey as well as just like a study area.
Chris Lloyd is a pianist who now lives in Berlin but says the region will always be home.
The amount of musical talent per capita really has to be challenging any place in the world.
They say that distance is no barrier for young musicians in the region to pursue their passion.
You know, performance opportunities, perform with the Adelaide Symphony Orchestra, I never would have thought that I would be able to do those things, so just go for it, I think.
It's like anything, you have to work extremely hard to make anything of it, but don't let distance be any type of excuse for not being able to do what you want to do.
Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
To local sport now, and there have been some strong scoring basketball games in Broken Hill over the past few days. Patrick Reiki joins us now with more, and there were no close contests this week, Pat.
Yeah, Fraser, there were routine wins in Broken Hill local basketball this week, with one side winning by 23 points. That team was Scorchers, which proved too strong for Sumting boys. Thomas Page top scoring with 17. In the other games, Free Ballers fell to Rel's team by 12, and a 21-point game from Shane Dalby saw North Bulldogs get the better of Ramjets. Heading down into Port Pirie, and it doesn't get much closer than this. In what was a hotly contested game from the get-go, some clutch shooting late in the game from Mason and Lawson Munzberg saw Pacers manage to close the gap against Globetrotters in the dying seconds. The final result, 46-46, keeping the Pacers still undefeated. Some quality three-point shooting from Tomcats saw them get a much easier win over the Ducks, the margin 14 points. In Port Lincoln, Packers Green couldn't do enough to catch Rangers Blue. Rangers White just got past Sharks to now be tied for first spot on the ladder, and Packers Yellow thumped Lincoln South Yellow. And in Whyalla, Rupina continued its undefeated season by taking down Demons by 16, and Wildcats comfortably won against Bevan. To Broken Hill Tennis now, where only 2 games were held. It was a very close night down at the courts. The match between forehands and backhands couldn't be split. Nathan Crabb and Peter Clark managed to win their final set 7-3 against Corey Pascoe and Hamish Inglis to force a tie, 2 sets 18 to 2 sets 18. And the second game was also too close for comfort, with drop shots just getting over volleys. A 7-1 win in the last double saw Kyron Slee and Andrew Malloy come away with the points. There is now one more round before finals. In Whyalla baseball, Tigers won the B-grade game 12-9, but Indians had the last laugh in the A-grade, winning by just 1 run. While in softball, Roadrunners did just enough to beat Tigers, and Spears beat Indians. And finally, in the Spencer Golf Ladies Pennant Lawn Bowls, Port Augusta Pink got a win, Whyalla Golf Blue beat Port Augusta Purple by 16 shots, and Etsa Blue breezed past Whyalla Golf Red. And Fraser, that does it for local sport for another week. Plenty happening as we head towards Christmas. And if you want your sporting results on Southern Cross News, be sure to send them through to localsport@sca.com.au.
Good on you, Pat. Patrick Reinke in Broken Hill there. Oh, stay with us. After the break, we welcome Abby Donaldson, who'll have all your weather.
Thanks, Fraser. Yes, a stormy and warm day today, but relief is on the way. I'll have your weather details next. Welcome back. Having a look at the weather now. It was a stormy day around the region. It hit 35 degrees in Port Augusta and 34 in Whyalla. Slightly cooler in Port Lincoln with a top of 29 there, and some cloud about in Broken Hill, 35. On the satellite, cloud over SA with a series of low-pressure troughs bringing patchy rain and thunderstorms, mainly about central western parts. On the Gulf waters, southerly winds between 20 and 25 knots, seas at a metre with a south-southwesterly swell. The sun will pop up just before 6:10 with sunset just before 8 tomorrow night. Looking at tomorrow now, a change is certainly on its way tonight, which will bring the temps down right across the centres. 25 the top for Port Augusta with some rain, just 22 for Whyalla, 21 with some patchy rain in Port Lincoln, 28 the top in Broken Hill and 25 in Port Pirie. Looking ahead to the next few days, it will stay cool in Port Lincoln, temps around the low 20s there, and in Cleve with skies clearing by Saturday. A little warmer in Woodna, reaching 27 degrees on Friday. It's a similar story for Whyalla with sunny skies to grace the town for the weekend, climbing up to 26 degrees by Saturday. Warmer in Port Augusta as the mercury rises to 29 degrees for Sunday. And it's a fine week ahead in Kadina with temps around the mid-20s. And finally, to Port Pirie, some rain clearing to a mostly sunny weekend there. A bit cooler further south in Clare, 22 the top with clear skies on Friday. Staying fine in Broken Hill, 25 for Thursday and Friday before climbing up to 27 degrees for Saturday. So Fraser, it looks like perfect conditions are in store for the weekend.
Sounds good. Good to have you on board as well. Thanks, Abby. And that is Southern Cross News for this Tuesday. Thanks for your company. I'll have some updates for you a little later. Until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.